has changed my life. And the reason I feel that's the case is that it's not a fad. You know, clear mind, clear house, clear mind is real. And I think in particular for a lot of people now working from home, we're spending a lot more time in our homes. So to actually have a home that feels like a clear, clean space to work in and live in has just been incredible. And I got in touch with Diana at Christmas to say, you know, I just want you to know that you've saved my mental health over Christmas, because obviously Christmas was stressful for a lot of people this year, and to have a tidy house, and I even used some of the Serenely Sorted System, which Diana's going to talk about, to actually sort out all my Christmas decorations this year, so that I've stored them all away now, and I'm already excited about next Christmas, knowing where they are, exactly what I've got, sorted them all out, threw away a load of stuff that I keep brought out every year as a habit, and just, you know, knowing that that's all there under my bed, ready for next year, already gives me a sense of calm. So that's why I reached out to Diana to say, this is the gift that keeps giving. This, you know, this small investment back in the summer has been huge. And I really wanted to say that, and I'm excited for anyone joining the course now, because, you know, it was the best thing I did.
You know, it's so wonderful to know. And when I got your message, it gave me a lift, particularly as it arrived this week. You saw probably the moment I heard we were back to homeschooling, and I think the mental health part of it, obviously when I initially developed the system, I was doing it to help my own stress, kind of without realizing it in some ways, but obviously that's hugely important this year, and because it's a really practical way that you can address it. And you know, mental health and addressing mental health, I mean, it's hard, and what we're being asked to do and what we have to do at the moment is very hard, and there's so many different stresses, but I feel this is probably one of the more practical ways than many to impact it and to see a real result, if you like.
Yes, absolutely. And I find my house everywhere I look, you know, everywhere I go now, I can see that if something's not in its end home, so I can be practical about it. I can allow some time for that. But just the fact that it's tidy in the first place means that it's easy to get things back there. That it's just so much easier now, because things were allocated an end home. Once they're not in their end home, it's blaringly obvious now. So it's so easy to tidy up, because it's clicked in my brain that that's not where it should be, and it soon gets back there now. So and
I'd like to tell everyone that I haven't prompted Sally to say all these things, because honestly, this is what I was talking about yesterday. I was talking about getting back to tidy, and you know, how I don't feel like I'm tidying anymore, because almost your brain is hardwired to just be going, okay, that's there, I need to put it in its end home, and so a lot of the barrier and the kind of negativity or mess stress you have is about thinking, oh, I've got to go and do the tidying now. And because I don't feel like I'm tidying, and it's so wonderful to hear you saying that, because that's what I want for people.
Yes, I can just interrupt you slightly there, Diana. What I'd like to say is I used to spend a whole day out of my week, and our weeks are precious, especially as working ladies as well, one whole day tidying and cleaning. I now spend one morning doing the actual cleaning, because I'm tidying as I go without even thinking about it.
Yeah, and wow, what a result. You've given yourself half a day of freedom as a result of being serenely sorted. And
absolutely,
you know, that is so powerful, incredible actually, and it's the same for me too. And I don't know whether you feel like, because you know, I've obviously been doing all the cleaning this year, and it just feels so much easier as well, because before you'd be tidying, and in fact I used to have a cleaner, and of course they just put things on the top because it's not their role to tidy, so you'd have a vacuumed floor, but it wouldn't actually solve the deep down problem of tidiness. Whereas actually, when I had a cleaner, she noticed how much easier her job was actually. And of course, for myself, I'm doing it myself now, and you know, it takes a lot less time to do it too. So you know, that's great to hear that result. And maybe you could just tell people a little bit how, you know, when you learned the course, you actually did your course online. Of course, now I've got my program Destination Sorted starting next week. So if you take that one on, you'll be doing it with me. Probably Sally, if I had that available, it would have been great to do that with you too. But so we're starting that next week. And what process did you go through, for example, as you were doing it and learning? And I know that for you decided to do it quickly, all in one go. But if for people who would find that overwhelming, or they don't want to take time off to do that, you could see how people could do it step by step, or different approaches hopefully can work for people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for me, I did take off 3 weeks in the summer and deliberately allocated 2 weeks of them for a full, huge declutterer. But that was because of lockdown. That was because we couldn't go on holiday. And obviously we will eventually get our lives back and want to spend time on holiday. But a few people said to me when I explained what I was doing with my holiday, they said, wow, that doesn't sound much like a holiday. Well, it's the holiday that just has kept giving me, you know, we have our holiday where we go away, we come back to the mess and we don't feel like we've been away. That particular holiday I had in the summer, because I did it that way, meant that I have now a holiday home in my home, because it's such a lovely place to be. It really feels serene. But I realise that not everybody can do that. They can't take 2 weeks out of their life to stop, to, you know. So I would recommend anyone just invest some part of their week in it. And I hope that I can, you know, let you know what, it's so worth it. It may feel like a chore in itself, because life is overwhelming at times, but I would say if you're really up for it and you really want to change your mindset and learn some really good habits, then it's really worth the investment, whatever way you do it, whether it's a morning a week, a whole day, a couple of hours a day, whatever way you do it, it still will get the result at the end of it, because you'll have a new mindset, and it's a brain training tool that Diana's teaching us that will click and become such a habit. So
it's like I often think people might think, oh, it's a tidying course, but it's just not that. It's as you say, it's a way of training your brain and developing a mindset and the set of behaviors that is what is the key, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about habit. And you know, I realized I had some really bad habits of just, you know, leaving stuff around and thinking I'll deal with them later. But then every time I passed them, I got that little niggle in my brain that said, this isn't nice, this isn't. So now when I walk along and I see a clear path, I get that, this is nice. And this is the difference now. And I think that's what I believe people will get out of this. And it's really hard. If someone had said that to me at the beginning, I wouldn't have believed it. I would have been, no, come on, you know, it's not that simple, but it really is. And I'm here to show that 6 months down the line, I'm still loving it, and I know I won't go back. There's no way.
Yeah, and also, even though you spent time in the summer, a part of your leave to do it, it meant that your Christmas holiday felt like a holiday at home, right?
Absolutely. And my half term October one did. The rest of the holidays, you know, I've actually enjoyed being at home for holidays more, because it's a lovely place to be, and I always felt I needed to get away from my home, because my home didn't feel like a serene place to be. Now I'm actually really content being at home, and that's due to the space.
Just music to my ears. In fact, I've got this like a free download on my website, and it's called 10 Ways to Feel Serene at Home Every Day. And exactly for what you're saying, to make it feel like you're on holiday at home, because we need that, right? We need to have that release. You know, funny enough, this week has been homeschool started again, and so I make a habit of getting back to tidy on my surfaces in the kitchen every night. But of course, this week there's been a new thing there, which is that lovely homeschool pile of books. And so actually, like last night, you know, I had this pile and didn't have an end home for it. So like today I'm going to create that end home, because then it will have a home. And at the moment there's a pile sitting on the side, and of course that slightly niggles me, and it just shows me again and again how it's a gift that keeps on giving. And you know, if you need to create an end home, I'll just talk briefly now, Sally, if you don't mind, about the tools that you need, which is the Serene space dividers. Now actually, yes, for that school stuff, I'm going to use their school bags, because it's the perfect size, the perfect thing, obviously, for their stuff. And I did this last time as well. And then the school books just go on top of the shelf in the utility room away. So that's sorted. But for other things where you need to create an end home, I'm just going to give you my top 3 space dividers and what's great about them. And Sally, you can chip in if you've used anything that you particularly love as well. Yeah. So we talked again already this week about some of the concepts and what's important about a Serene space divider. And it's like important that they're the right size for what you're using. And a bigger basket can be good, but typically, you know, something this size is about right, because what I always say, it's important to not overly categorize your stuff into tiny little spaces, because you won't keep that up. And that's why the system's so practical, right? Is we're not trying to overly categorize like into colors or into mini subcategories. You know, for my handbag, I've got a bigger, much bigger basket, because I put everything to do with my handbag in there. But this is what I use for a lot of things like my daughter's crafts and colouring, because one can contain all of the, you know, scissors, sellotape, bits and pieces to do with the stationery stuff. One can be just full of like all the felt tips and crayons, and one can be stacked up paper within these. And I like these because they're such high-sided, and also they've got that use in one move ability, which is really important, right? And yes, I've got these all over my kitchen, and for virtually everything. In fact, poor old anyone going to Poundland after me, they're not going to find it, because these are £1 and just fantastic. So yeah, that is my top choice space divider. And it's actually not meant for anything like this. It's meant, the label on the front says something like you know, sauces, like, you know, your oils and whatever in your cupboard, but I use this for absolutely everything. Yeah. And you know, people do talk about, oh yeah, there's a lot of plastic, but these things will be in my home being used until the end of days. Yes. They're not single use, they're used repeatedly every day for the next 40 years to come, and that is the absolute truth. Yes. Yeah, Diane, I must add that I use those in my fridge, and this is a really classic example of a use in one move. When I was preparing a salad before, I would have to get 5 or 6 things out of the fridge in different moves. Yeah. Now it's all my salad is in one of those, and I just pull it out and put it on the side, prepare my salad, put it all back in, put it back in, and that is a classic, you know, all in one move that I just wouldn't have thought of. No, use in one mood for the salad. Yeah, exactly. And you know, on that similar note, I've got quite a few of these. I think these are either from Home Bargains or actually Poundland as well, I think. And because these have got these little handles on, they're quite handy. They're not the best baskets, but that's sort of size. So we are on the Joe Wicks plan, and we have porridge every morning, and there's about 5 ingredients, the sort of more dry cupboard type style. So this is where people, you know, it's worth thinking, it's about thinking in terms of activity rather than the categories you might have classically thought of. So whilst this had, like, you know, it's got a spice, I forget the name, which one, and then the oats, and then the couple of other things which typically wouldn't go together, but because this activity, it's something I'm doing every day, so it's in the pantry as the ingredients for that thing because I'm doing it every day, and that you know, is fantastic. So thinking about the activities rather than the classic way of thinking makes a huge difference. Great idea. Yeah. And here's like the ultimate one, right? I mean, the 𝚃𝚌 range, they're available in Tesco's, in the range, in B&Q, like everywhere, and they are great actually. 100% perfect for what we're doing. And you know, one like this side would probably be about £3, and you can often get like, you know, sets on Amazon or whatever with but this actually is the Home Bargains version, and it's 99p, so definitely worth it if you can find this. And this again is a classic Serene space divider that can be used, and I use these type of ones in the fridge too for like veg, you know, because we're actually using a lot more veg for some of the stuff on the plan as well. And of course you can use these perfect size for all your cheese or all your hams and whatever too. So, or and we typically have more high-sided ones, which you can get in it's a good range in Wilko's actually, slightly more high side. They've got a handle on the front for your like condiments that you need to keep in the fridge, which is quite handy. So those are awesome. And then I'm just going to mention one more, which is, I don't know whether you've got any of these, Sally, but I do go on about these quite a lot as well, the mini drawers.
Ooh,
and
no, I haven't.
So these are so awesome because, you know, I mentioned on the course that stackable boxes are a pain, because if you want to get something out of the bottom box, you've got to unstack the whole pile, and then you're never going to put them back. And the whole Serenely Sorted is about ease of use and functionality, and making sure that you don't have to take more time, because the more effort you have to make, the more likely you are to just chuck it in a pile and not do it, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
In this scenario, you know, you can get the stuff out of the bottom one, and I use something like this, like loads of these kinds of things, because then it's a use in one move. So I've got ones like this for my daughter's hair bubbles, and so every morning before school, we might not be doing this quite as diligently at the moment, but so all the hair stuff goes in there, it comes out onto the kitchen's up top. We do the hair, it all goes back. And that was something, I used to lose her hairbrushes all the time, because you just put them down somewhere, and you know, like that's the key point. You're not using 5 things, you're just using 1 thing. And also these can come apart. So if you've got a shelf that can only take 3 of them, like I think I bought like 3 sets and made 4 sets of drawers on different shelves at different heights. So they are really brilliant too. So
and where are they from, Diane, those ones?
I've got those, they have them in B&Q and they have them Asda online as well. So and they're about £7. So
Wow.
you know, they are a definite win. And you know, you can get the big sets of those, like where they're a full drawer, and you know, they're not aesthetically pleasing, so you wouldn't use those in your bedroom. I had some actually, because when we first moved back to the UK and I was in a rental, they were inside like a built-in slide wardrobe, so they and I just bought some because there was no drawers and we didn't know what we'd end up doing. So but those have been super handy, because even without the set of drawers, a big version of this is actually really great for things like all those weird shaped things you've got for baking and what have you. So I actually just use those as containers. So that is my whistle stop tour around my Serene space dividers, to get you started and to get you inspired to get some of those when you go out. But it's great to hear that how you've been using them as well, Sally.
Yeah, they've been great. And I think I sent you a picture at one time when I did my bathroom cabinet, and I used lots of smaller versions of those ones for my bathroom cabinet, and it still looks the same now, because everything's, you know, the 𝚃𝚒𝚎𝚍 are in one section and the shampoos are in another, and it's just so much more. I used to open it and get that sinking feeling. I open it now and I get that great feeling. So again, this is where the mind, you know, it just feels good to have it all tidy, and you can get what you need quickly.
You can, and I think, you know, for those bathroom cabinets, it's again thinking about your frequent use versus your occasional, I've got to go and get something. And like so we've got a bathroom cabinet where, you know, might have the sun cream that we use, like, well, hopefully at some point. You know, and the medicines, but when you need them, you want to be able to find what you want. And then my makeup that I use like every day is a use in one move very close to the sink, you know, and thinking about that side of things and is key to making it really work for you. So it's been great talking to you, Sally, and it you know it actually fills me with pride and warmth that it's really working for you, and that it's given you exactly what I want and what's my mission to help people with, which is their mess stress, and the fact that it's the gift that keeps on giving. And you know, people are, I've got my destination sorted starting next week, where people will definitely get those results. And in fact, you did it yourself quite independently, but this course takes you on a roadmap to sorted week by week, and it tackles those specific areas. So for those people that sort of would have a bit of overwhelm with doing it all in one go, it's a really perfect situation, because you can do one step at a time. And you know, it's an investment, but I always think, you know, this is our homes, and we spend so much on our homes, paying our rent or our mortgage. And like you say, you've managed to make it a holiday home at home. And, you know, I think for a very reasonable investment, you've got an amazing result. And, you know, I hope you agree. So
absolutely agree. I mean, you should be proud, Diana, because this is really incredible what you've done. What your mission is about is wonderful. So you should be really proud. Yeah, I'm just so glad I found you at the time I did, because as I say, it has genuinely changed my life.
Oh gosh, wonderful to know. And what would your message be to anyone who is wondering whether they should do it, make the investment, and you know, dive in?
My message would say, absolutely go for it. You know, I was really skeptical. I really was. I thought it was all you know, a fad, a thing. You know, you hear this, but no, it's if you really commit to it. And it is a big commitment. It's going to take some time out of your life, but I can honestly say it's worth it. It really is. It's worth the time to get your time back. You know, I've saved myself a whole day. That's really precious to me. I'm a busy working person and with a family, so it's really important that my time is spent doing what I love doing, and this has allowed that.
Well, I think on that note, I'll say thank you very much, Sally, for joining me today, and
thank you.
Enjoy your weekend, and obviously we stay in touch, because it's you know, it's wonderful to hear and to get your feedback. It really is. So thank you very much for today, and enjoy your weekend. And everyone, I'm going to put the link to Destination Sorted in this post afterwards. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to message me and to find out more. And we will have the final session, the 5th tip to tidy, tomorrow, which is, as Sally said, it's all about those habits and the fact that she doesn't even feel like she's tidying anymore, which is the same for me, and how that can happen for you too. So we'll also be pulling together the whole steps I've been giving you this week, so you can just sort of get a whole picture as well. So do join me tomorrow, 11 o'clock, and enjoy the rest of your day, and look forward to this first full weekend in lockdown. I think we're going to stay in our pajamas for quite a lot of the time this weekend. I think we deserve it after this week.
Right.
Thanks, Sally.
You're welcome, Diana. Take care. Bye-bye.
So I've just stopped the live stream anyway.